Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
大家好，我是 Bernice 老师。
Yesterday, we started an article in our art section, which, not surprisingly, is called Sand Art in Fulong.
我们昨天呢是介绍了这个有关在福隆呢一个很有趣的一个活动，就是这个沙雕展。
And today we have a couple very long paragraphs to go over, and we better get started then.
没错。
Every summer, Fulong in northern Taiwan hosts a sand art festival. So every year in the summer, Fulong is near Geelong. So that is the northeastern beach area of Taiwan. That area hosts, that means if you're the host of a party, you pay the bill in a restaurant or you invite people to your home. You're in charge if you are the host. And to be a host of a festival is usually a location rather than a single person.
好，所以在每一年夏天呢，在我们这个台湾北海岸比较接近基隆的地方呢，就是这个福隆的地方呢，就会呢举办这个 host， 就是做主办单位。所以主办单位如果是你是家里面的话，你就是你要这个负责出钱啊，买一些吃的喝的，然后你就会邀请一堆的人来你们家里面这个开一个小 party。所以这边的意思也是一样的啊，就是他们主办的，那他主办的主要就是沙的这个艺术创作节。
The 3-kilometer beach has excellent sand conditions for creating large and complex works of sand art. 3 kilometers, we usually use gongli here in Taiwan. Let's see, that would be about almost 2 miles of beach. If you're walking on sand and you walk for 2 miles, that's going to take you a good 15-20 minutes if you're not running, just walking along the beach. So that's a lot of area for sand artists to do their work. And the reason they choose the Fulong area is because the conditions of the sand are excellent for their works of sand art. They can create very large. Sometimes, if the sand isn't very good for sand art, you can just make little piles of sand or holes in the beach. Nothing very interesting. But yesterday we talked about if you have the right type of sand, it will hold together or stick together. So you can make buildings, not skyscrapers, but you can make places large enough actually for a person to walk into and then walk out of.
对，刚才不是老师讲到那个 skyscraper 就是摩天大楼，像 Taipei 101那样子的。OK， 这个有点太夸张了。OK， 好，所以他就说呢，为什么选择福隆这个地方来做他们的沙雕展呢？就是因为第一个，它的这个海滩的长度呢，大约是3公里长，然后呢，它的这个沙的这个条件呢，非常的好，就是让这些艺术家呢，可以把这个沙跟水呢调和之后，把它变成他们要的这个艺术品，然后他们就可以创造出呢这个比较大型一点的，甚至呢比较复杂一些的这个沙雕的创作的这个艺术作品。
The works on display each year. Now, works is okay because we're talking about art, and we mentioned every summer, so that's every year in the summer. Create a small maze of complex sculptures. Of course, that doesn't happen by themselves. The sand artists are the ones who create. They imagine something unusual and good-looking, even beautiful, that they want to build. And some of these are complex. They're not simple at all. A maze of complex structures. A maze is like a puzzle. It's something hard to figure out, or it's very complicated.
好，所以这边就讲说呢，这一些艺术的创作家呢，他们每一年展示出来这个沙雕的作品， on display， 就是展示出来的，都是创造出来一些呢 small maze， 像小小的迷宫一样。所以刚才不是老讲，它很复杂，它不是那么眼睛一看就说哦，它就是这样子这个雕出来的，它是比较复杂一点的。然后呢，它接着下来，它是用比较 complex， 它创造出这种比较复杂一点的这种雕刻艺术品。
They can last for months if the weather conditions allow. That's amazing. To last, usually we think of last as 最后 as an adjective, but to last as a verb means it can continue to be, it can continue to live, it can continue to amaze people or something like that. And usually we will think, well, how can that happen? Especially in Taiwan. In the summer, we have typhoons.
Yes.
Now, if there are no typhoons, these sand sculptures are so well made that they could last for months.
所以这个句子就是展现出那个 amazing 的感觉，就是说这些沙雕的作品呢，如果在天气允许的状态底下，就像我们讲没有台风、风平浪静的时候呢，他们的作品可以持续好几个月呢，不是好几天。所以这边的 last 是当动词，表示持续下去的意思。
Yeah. Weather conditions, basically we're talking about wind and water. You have high tides or big waves. They could destroy the sand structures or sand sculptures. But if the weather is peaceful, it will last quite a long time.
没错。
A special glue is also applied so that they last longer. Now, yesterday I mentioned that there are materials besides sand and water which sand artists can use. Glue, I don't know what kind of glue it is, but a glue is anything that helps things hold together or stick together.
对，所以这一些呢，艺术作品家呢，他们甚至还会用一种比较特殊的胶水，它这个胶水就是专门让这个沙雕看起来可以持续的更久，所以他们也同时会运用它 apply 这边就是运用这样的一个 glue，那这样子的话呢 they 就是指他们的作品啦，就会持续的更长一段时间了。
Continuing, you can see lots of people coming to the beach each year. In Fulong or any other place that has a sand art festival. These are, we've said it many times, they're really amazing because you and we are, if I make a sand mound, I'm happy. Or if I dig a hole that I can put water in and maybe a couple of shells, wow. But these are really just amazing.
对，所以因为这些艺术的沙雕艺术作品展呢，实在是非常非常的惊人，所以每一年都会吸引到好多好多的游客，你会看到好多其他国家的人，甚至还有一些摄影师，好，专门呢就是每一年来这边这个沙滩上面看这些作品的。
Visitors come from all parts of Taiwan and from around the world. After you've seen, if you just go to one sand art festival, you'll probably go to any others that are possible for you. And Taiwan's summer, although pretty hot, is a great time to do beach combing and have your barbecue. We have so many beautiful beaches here in Taiwan. But in Fulong, with their sand art festival, that's a really special occasion.
对，所以因为福隆它有这么样的一个让大家觉得很特殊的一个活动，所以呢，你会发觉从各个世界来的这些 visitors 都会来这个福隆呢来参观它的这个沙雕艺术作品。
Okay, let's take a little break here and then we'll come back to finish. Welcome back. Now let's continue and finish Day 2 of our Sand Art in Fulong. Each year at the festival, artists build dozens of sculptures with different features. In the mind of creative people who are artists, no two pictures will be exactly the same. No two other works of art will be exactly the same. And with sand sculptures, because it's a so-called plastic art, that means the material can be moved, not like a painting, which is on just one board or one canvas, but you use materials to construct things like an engineer uses materials to construct a building.
对，所以刚才Bruce老师把这些沙雕艺术作品家形容成了像那个工程师一样，好，在堆东西。好，所以他说每一年呢，这个沙雕艺术展开始的时候呢，你会发觉呢，这些艺术家呢都会去雕塑出来各式各样不同的 dozens of， 就是好几十座不同的这些他们有特色、带有不同特色的作品。你要雕出你的自己的作品跟别人有所区分，当然要让人家感觉这是很特殊、很不一样的。
Now, dozen, you probably already know, means 12 of something. What's a baker's dozen?
Wow, baker's dozen. I don't know that.
Okay. In Europe and the United States, bakers who want more business will sell things by the baker's dozen. We expect a dozen is 12, but the baker's dozen means they add one more for free. So a baker's dozen means 13.
所以这个意思，我们讲 dozen 本来是12嘛，就是一打东西。那像刚才Bruce老师讲的 baker's dozen， 就是说，它再多加一个是免费的哦，所以就变成13个。
So make sure you go to a bakery that sells baker's dozens.
面包店。
Okay, they have different features, of course. As I said, the imagination of artists is endless. So maybe one is of animals, one is a building, one is a monster. It's amazing what the imagination can produce.
没错，就是用你的想象力，你可以创造出各式各样不一样形式的这个沙雕的作品。
In 2020, the theme of the event is the Sand Art Festival, was Dream of Giants. Now that's really open. If I saw this title, I wouldn't know what to expect.
好，所以他在2020年的时候呢，他有一个这个沙雕作品的这个主题 theme， 就是它的主题，它的名字叫做巨人的梦想。所以刚刚Bruce老师说，如果他看到这个主题，他会想说我不知道我会看到些什么东西耶，这样子是看到巨人还是看到什么东西 ？Yeah.
And so I would want to go to find out what it means.
一定的，想要去看看是什么样的状况。
And though some artists can create very complex pieces, they are all just sand and water. That's something we should remember. But I suppose we could also think of, say, paintings. It's just paint, and it's just a canvas, and yet there's no limit to what you could paint. There's no limit to what you could build as a sand art sculpture.
对，所以身为这个艺术创作家呢，你就是很简单的这些材料，像这边就是沙啦跟水，或你画画的时候就是一些颜料跟一些帆布。可是呢，你却能靠你的创造力，靠你的这个想象力，创造出各式各样不同的作品。所以这完全是没有一个局限的。好，所以他这边就是讲，虽然对不对，可以创造出有一些艺术家，他的确可以创造出非常非常复杂的一些艺术作品，可是呢，其实你也用到的不过就是沙跟水。
They are shaped, they are the sand sculptures, the works of art. They are shaped or formed with buckets. We can also use the word pail, P-A-I-L. That is a container with a very thin handle to carry water or other materials. Shovels, she can translate that for you.
铲子
Yeah. And other basic tools. They don't just use their hands. Some of these sculptures are pretty big, so you need tools to build them.
没错，所以呢，他们这些艺术家呢，在把这些沙雕的作品成型的时候呢，他们会用到一些工具啦。第一个就是水桶，上面有一个小提手的，你可以提来提去的。然后第二个就是铲沙子，你要把沙子挖起来，很大量的沙。最后呢，还有一些其他呢，你要把这个沙，比如说固定啦，或者是形状怎么样，这个模型要弄出来，那还有一些基本的一些工具。
Okay, let's look at our last paragraph together now. Although sand art doesn't last as long as a painting or a sculpture, even if it can last for several months, that's pretty good considering the material you are using And also, of course, it's outside in the weather. How long would a painting last out in the weather? Despite that, its short lifetime makes it even more special. It's like some kinds of flowers that bloom. Some people wait for months, and maybe these flowers bloom for only a couple of weeks, but that makes them all the more attractive and valuable to us.
对，所以我们在中文里面说昙花一现，就是它打开了就 disappear。很快的 disappear，OK， 所以他这个意思就是这样，他就说的这个沙雕展呢，其实它没有办法像真正我们一个绘画的作品或者是一个雕塑的作品那样子，可以持续很久很久，因为你是放在户外，然后又有这个天气的影响。可是呢，它这样子短短的这样子一个生命呢 ，lifetime 就是它的一辈子，其实会让这些作品让我们觉得更加的很特别、很特殊，要珍惜它的。
Okay, and our last long sentence here. Since, because, as, each piece disappears with the next storm or wave. I already mentioned this. It's outside, it's on the beach, so if a typhoon comes or even just heavy rain, bye-bye, your sand sculpture. We should appreciate the special experience the sand sculptures give us. Not every place, some countries don't have beaches, remember? So where many do, but not every beach is suitable for a sand sculpture. Even in Taiwan, many of our shores or beaches are rock beaches, not sand beaches.
没错。
So whenever you can, wherever you can, enjoy while you can sand art sculptures.
对，所以呢，最后一句就是跟我们讲，这个 since 表示因为每一件呢这些作品呢，其实它就会随着 storm， 就是如果来了一个暴风雨，然后接着又来了一个海浪，噗，它就不见了，很快就没有了。所以呢，我们应该呢，就是真的要好好去欣赏这一些特殊的经验，然后就是这个经验就是由这个沙呢所带给我们这种特殊的一种体验，因为它很快的就会不见了。
Okay, that finishes our article. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, I have some more of those tools that we just talked about.
好的。
I just mentioned that there are some other tools that sand artists use, but not only sand artists. Other people can use these tools too. That was in our second paragraph. The last sentences, they are shaped, the sand sculptures are shaped with buckets, shovels, and other basic tools. Well, here are a few more. One is a hoe, H-O-E, very simple word, and that is a...
耙子就是我们像农夫一样要把那个土翻起来的一个东西。
Right. And on a beach, that will come in very handy if you want to if you want to separate parts of your sculpture, then a hoe would be very useful for that. Another tool is called a trowel, T-R-O-W-E-L, T-R-O-W-E-L. And not only sand artists, but gardeners and people who work in nurseries, they sell plants, they will use a trowel probably every day. You can dig like a shovel, but it fits in your hand, and it's shaped this like a triangle of metal because it's going into the earth, and you can remove earth, put the plant in, and then
好，所以就是翻土啦，有时候翻一些那个什么盆栽的东西，那它的头是三角形的，然后它是金属做的。那有的时候这些园丁们呢，或者这些园艺的人，他会每天都要帮那个植物稍微翻一下土嘛，哈。那这个小小的那种铲子跟 shovel 很像，只是说它刚好可以合了你的手这个形状。
And finally, a sieve. 拼法很奇怪 S-I-E-V-E, 念 sieve. It is a kind of screen like we have on our windows to keep the mosquitoes out. And there's a round border to it, usually wood, it could be metal, with the screen at the bottom. And if you want to take out large pieces or things that you don't want, and you just want, say, the sand, then you do this motion, and the fine sand will go down that you want, and it will keep out things you don't want.
对，它就像一个筛器一样，就是比如说呢，你可能要这个有里面沙子，可是你不想要沙子，你只要沙子里面的一些，比如说珠宝啦，还是什么玻璃啦，还是什么的，你就把你不要的东西从那个沙子里面把它筛掉，很像我们在做那个汤圆的时候，有没有？我们会把那个汤圆的那个粉弄掉，然后上面留下汤圆，一颗一颗的汤圆，对，就是那个筛器，
Okay, so there you have it. Hope to see you in Fulong this summer.
Okay.
Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
第16页，艺术饗宴，鬼斧神工艺术空间，来福隆杀时间。
Sand art in Fulong. Every summer, Fulong in northern Taiwan hosts a sand art festival. The 3-kilometer beach has excellent sand conditions for creating large and complex works of sand art. The works on display each year create a small maze of complex sculptures. They can last for months if the weather conditions allow. A special glue is also applied so that they last longer. You can see lots of people coming to the beach each year. Visitors come from all parts of Taiwan and from around the world. Each year at the festival, artists build dozens of sculptures with different features. In 2020, the theme of the event was Dream of Giants. And though some artists can create very complex pieces, they are all just sand and water. They are shaped with buckets, shovels, and other basic tools. Although sand art doesn't last as long as a painting or a sculpture, its short lifetime makes it even more special. Since each piece disappears with the next storm or wave, we should appreciate the special experience the sand sculptures give us.